All right, welcome. This is a technical tutorial designed specifically for you, the RF technicians out there in the field. We're going to be diving into a really comprehensive report from the folks over at RFI Detectives, breaking it all down so you get the core practical knowledge you actually need.
Now, before we get started, just a really important heads up. This is the very first part of a big 20-part series, and it is absolutely critical to remember that everything we're talking about here is for educational purposes, specifically for interference mitigation. You know, using radio jamming gear is flat out illegal in most places, and the penalties can be really severe. So let's be crystal clear. Our goal here is to make you better at identifying, locating, and reporting jamming signals. That's it.
Okay, let's jump right in. With any kind of technical problem, you've got to define it before you can solve it. So when we use the term radio jamming, what are we really talking about?
So here it is, the official definition from the report. Now I want you to focus on one word here because it's the most important one on the screen: deliberate. Jamming is not an accident. It's not a bit of static. It is an intentional, purposeful act with a single goal: to shut down a communication system and stop it from working.
So let's see how that one word, deliberate, becomes the foundation for a skill that is absolutely essential for any RF technician. This is really where your diagnostic brain has to kick into high gear.
And this right here, this quote, really nails the challenge you're going to face every day. The RF spectrum is a noisy, crowded place. Your job, really, is to be the detective, to figure out what's malicious and what's just, accidental background noise. And this just lays it out perfectly. It all comes down to one fundamental question. Are you dealing with purposeful interference, a targeted, deliberate attack? Or are you just picking up unintentional noise, something accidental, like a faulty microwave oven or a poorly shielded piece of equipment? Knowing how to tell the difference? Well, that's the whole ballgame. So if jamming is a deliberate, intentional act, well, that begs the question, why? Why would someone do this? And as we're about to see, understanding the motivation is just as critical for you as a technician as it is to identify the signal in the first place. And the reasons? They're actually all over the map. On one end, you have legitimate security operations. Think of a high-security facility that needs to create a dead zone for cell phones in a very specific, sensitive area. But on the other end of the spectrum, and frankly the one you're probably going to run into more often, is criminal activity. We're talking about car thieves using jammers to block GPS trackers or burglars using them to knock out wireless security alarms. Okay, so why do we, as technicians, need to care so much about why someone is jamming? I mean, isn't finding the signal enough? Well, no, because the motivation, the intent, completely changes your strategy for how to deal with it. Here's the bottom line. This is the crucial takeaway. Figuring out the motive changes everything. Is the threat some cheap, low-powered jammer a car thief is using, or is it something much more sophisticated? Answering that question informs your entire threat model. It tells you which frequencies you should be checking first, and it ultimately lets you give your clients the best advice on the right countermeasures they need to put in place. So, we've laid the foundation. We now have a solid understanding of what jamming is, the different reasons why it happens, and why knowing that reason is so incredibly important for your work. This all sets the stage perfectly for our next part, where we're going to ask the next big question. Of all the radio signals out there, which ones are the most popular targets for jammers? And what is it that makes them so vulnerable?